coffee friends, Lauren here at Mill City Roasters. I wanted to introduce you to our brand new digital 2 kilogram all electric coffee roaster. If you've seen this up on the site or you've seen it on Instagram or maybe you're subscribed to our newsletter, then you've already heard about it a little bit. Steve has a new blog post up where he does a nice run through of how he engineered and designed this roaster, and I wanted to just talk about it today. So if you've been following Mill City for a few years, you'll know that we used to build fully electric 500 gram and 1 kilogram roasters. After a couple years of manufacturing them and seeing them out in the field, we weren't super satisfied with the performance of those roasters, so we switched our focus to all gas-powered roasting equipment. You know that the rest of our product line now runs on natural gas or propane, and customers can choose their gas type based on their specific installation. In the time since we discontinued those earlier models of electric roasters, new voltage control devices have become a lot more affordable and a lot more available, and it's made it possible for us to design and launch this machine, which is a lot easier to control, it performs better, and we think that it's up to our standard for our roasters. So we decided to make it available. There's a lot of reasons why you might need to use an electric roaster instead of a gas-powered roaster. Usually we encounter this with customers who just aren't allowed to install gas-powered equipment in their facility, or maybe they're roasting in a space that just does not have a good option for a gas line, they're not able to work with a portable propane tank, or they're in a mixed-use space, somewhere where gas-powered equipment is going to cause an issue for neighbors or other tenants in the building. We're seeing more and more kind of regulations and governmental oversight that limits people's options when it comes to gas-powered equipment, so we know that the demand for electric roasters is really growing. This roaster will look familiar to you because it's the exact same chassis and body of our 2 kilogram gas roaster. This is a roaster that we launched a few years ago, and we really designed it to sort of be a do-everything lab roaster that you could both sample roast on and production profile roast on. We decided to use this same model size to launch the electric roaster because when you look at our whole lineup, it really is the roaster that can kind of do it all. You can go down to very small batches, around 300 or 400 grams. You could use that as a sample roaster in your space if you're purchasing new greens or evaluating greens for quality. And then you could scale up. This roaster is capable of roasting a full batch size, which is 2 kilograms or just under 4.5 pounds, meaning that in an hour of roasting, you could pretty comfortably have 18 to 20 pounds of coffee. And that, extrapolated out over a full day, is a good amount of coffee. We know that when roasters start on small machines like this, they become better roasters faster because they're roasting more batches, they're roasting more frequently, and when they're ready to scale up to that larger production size roaster, they tend to keep this machine in their space. It becomes their QC roaster and their sample roaster to make purchasing decisions on, and it's really the roasting system that they're most familiar with because they've kind of grown up with it. This roaster's got a lot of sweet features. I'm not going to run down all of them today because you can read all about it on our website, on our product page. I will mention that there's a 5,000 watt heating element on this machine, a control panel, which I'll look at in just a moment, that's really, really similar, almost identical to the rest of our digital control panels on the rest of our machines. What makes this roaster very unique is that we have got a made in Minneapolis laser cut mild steel drum installed in it. This is the first of our roasters to include a US-made component that comes standard on the machine right out of the crate. We have worked to kind of upgrade this drum and use a material specifically for the electric roaster that transfers heat a little bit better and is a little bit more precise in roaster control, something that is very important to us. Of course, because it's a digital control panel roaster, it's got a USB port right on the control panel so you can plug it into RoastPath. It is RoastPath automation ready. It also has some advanced automation for between batch protocol for a really nicely controlled preheat and some additional operator assist features like automated greens coffee hopper, which will start your roast timer and flip the machine into roast mode. There's sensors on the drum, the cooling tray cover, and the cooling tray gate that makes that in-between sort of batch-to-batch experience of discharging one roast and charging the next really seamless and really efficient. When this machine is installed, you've got several options for venting. You can see on our website that you can separate your venting lines or you can gang them together as they are ganged together here in our roastery. This machine also pairs very well with a rye catino afterburner. This is something that's also available on our website. It reduces smoke, smell, and emissions from this system, and it makes it much more, flexible for you to roast with this roaster in a variety of applications and environments. Again, thinking about those mixed-use spaces, those neighbors that are sensitive to roasting smells, or those regulations that really limit your ability to roast using gas power equipment, to use anything that creates emissions. Something like the Rye Catino 100 system is going to reduce those things and make this a virtually emissions-free and a scent-free roaster. We tested this out in New York earlier this year at Coffee Fest. We roasted with this roaster with a rye cat attached to the stack inside the Javits Convention Center. We did 2 roasting demonstrations every day for all 3 days of the show. 0 smoke, 0 smell, and we were right under one of those fire extinguisher sprinklers that will be triggered if it gets too hot or if it gets too smoky. Never set it off. So we're really, really impressed with it. We'll look at some pictures of what that installation looked like. When you're roasting on this machine from a production standpoint, you have the ability to roast, to produce about $338, $340 per hour. We've got a great ROI calculator on our website that can help you kind of look at those numbers and see what sort of the payoff timeline of one of these machines would be. But that's kind of, again, based on that 20 pound per hour output at retail prices on 12-ounce bags. That's where we get those numbers. When students join us for our Roasting 101 classes here in Minneapolis, they have the chance to roast on this machine. It's set up in the roastery alongside all of our other gas-powered equipment, and folks rotate around the classroom so that they get the experience of roasting on different size models. If this is something that you want to get your hands on and try out, I invite you to come join us for class, see what the experience of roasting on it is like, how the control panels are different, in many ways the same, and what the experience of roasting coffee is like here. We're doing another video with a roast along with Bryant. He's going to show us how he preheats this machine and how he roasts a batch of coffee on it. What's really nice about this system is that if your roaster, if you've got this roaster and it's installed in your space at the same voltage that what we're using here, then you can really replicate a lot of the same profiles because the inputs when it comes to the heating element and the airflow are very, very transferable. This is a big thing that we've noticed that's very different from our gas-powered equipment. We talk about this all the time. Your numbers will be different because your installation is different, your incoming gas pressure is different, your ventilation system is different. But what we've noticed on calls with folks who have these machines already in their space is that the numbers are pretty parallel, and so you can use a template from another roaster who's on this model and apply it on your own roaster and get very similar results and outcomes, which is awesome. Going over to the control panel real quick, almost everything's the same. It's a lot of what we see on our digital control panels for our other production roasters. We have our timer, environmental temperature, our PID temperature with our high temperature limit. One quick note, the high temperature limit on this roaster is a little bit higher than what you'll see on your stock roaster. We've adjusted that for our testing purposes here in the roastery. Really the main difference here is going to be on this display panel. Instead of where it might say gas pressure or fuel, it's going to say regulation of power because of that heating element that's in there. And over here, instead of ignition, it's got the word heating to turn on that heating element. Everything else is the same 2-part setup or start for this roaster, and the same controls for exhaust fan and drum speed. So really, why electric? You probably already know. If you're a person who needs to have an electric roaster, then you've already kind of come to that conclusion on your own. We think this is a very, very good option. We feel like it's one of the most powerful and precise electric commercial roasters available right now, and we're really excited to bring it to you. If you've got more questions, hop on the website or give us a call. Can't wait to talk about it. Thanks.